Hello, I'm Reggie York. This is a presentation on using a special Excel file for the binomial test when you're comparing post-test data measured as a dichotomy to a threshold proportion, meaning you have post-test data that's either yes or no, how many people were yes, how many people were no, and you have a proportion that's a threshold by which these data are being compared, like 25% or 30% or 35%. That's the situation we're talking about. I'm at the University of North Carolina, Wilmington, which does not show up there. There it is. Okay. Okay, what this presentation is about, it's an illustration of how to use the special Excel file I have developed for computing the binomial test for one particular application of that test. There are a lot of ways binomial can be used. I'm only going to be talking about one of them. There are other applications that are a part of my system, but we're talking about only one here. The binomial test reveals for us the likelihood that chance explains the differences in the frequencies of two categories when these frequencies are compared to a threshold fraction. If you have 17 people who had favorable behavior and 8 people who did not, that's more favorable people than unfavorable, so it's more than 50%. Let's say you're comparing that to a threshold of 25%. Is it significantly better than 25%? In this application, you've measured your dependent variable as a dichotomy, such as whether or not your homeless clients found a home within 6 months of service. You have a national norm for comparison, such as, just to make up something, a fraction of 0.25. Let's say, for example, that you found that 25% of homeless people have been found to normally find a home within 6 months without any kind of special service like what you were giving. So you want to know, what difference does your service make? Your hypothesis in this situation could be, I'm just going to use an example, the proportion of our clients who find a home within 6 months will be greater than the national norm of 25%. What you need to do to prepare for this, you need to have the special Excel file designed by me and available with those who have purchased this book, which is published, by the way, by Sage Publications. You need to have your own data, which means the number of your clients who are in the favorable category at post-test, such as found a home, yes or no. The number of your clients who are not, so you got the first category, those who found a home, those who did not, those who did, those who did not. How many did, how many did not? The third thing you need to know is the fraction that is the threshold for comparison. I'm going to illustrate these things. Here's an example. At post-test time, 17 of your clients found a home and 8 did not find a home. I'm going to give you a hypothetical information. The national threshold is 0.25, which is the fractional equivalent of 25%. That's the threshold that we're going to be comparing our data to. So you have 17 successful clients out of 25 total for a success rate of 68%. Now this is better than 25%, but is it significantly better? Now if your rate was not better than the proportion, if your rate was 20%, you don't need to look about statistical significance because you already know your hypothesis was not supported. If it is better than 25%, then you look to see whether or not it is significantly better. Now let's look at the Excel file here. Using the data we just talked about, I'm going to ask you to simply hit the pause button here and read over, if you can read this information, the particular directions, and then come back to me. I will talk with you. I'll explain what we're doing when you do. Okay, I assume you have looked at those. So what I'm going to illustrate is in this cell of the file, you enter the number of favorable post-test recordings. The example is the number of people who found a home. In our hypothetical example, we have 17 clients who did. The next, enter the number of post-test recordings. I'm sorry, the total number of post-test recordings. Total number, not the number who didn't find a home, but the total number, which is 25. You notice we did not enter the number 8 in there at all. It was how many were favorable, how many was the total. And here we enter that threshold fraction that represents the comparison. We're going to do 0.25. 0.25. You don't enter 25% in there. 0.25. You look here for your p-value. Here we have one of those strange conventions of Excel, where if the decimal places are so great that it doesn't all fit here, they do this little funny thing where they do E. What we have here is 6.3 E-06. What that E tells us to do is move that decimal place 6 points to your left. E06 means move the decimal place 6 points to the left. So if you got 6 points to the left, what you'll have is the p-value of 0.000006, because that moves the decimal place 6 points to your left. So it comes out as 0.000006. So obviously we have found statistical significance at the normal standard for the social sciences, which is 0.05. We are way, way below 0.05. So that is how you use this particular file for using the post-test data when you have a threshold to compare it to and you're using dichotomous data. I hope this helps. Good luck with using this tool.